Alright everyone, trap season is fucking here. M. Night Shyamalan's new movie has just released. So excited to talk about this one with you guys. So let's get into it. M. Night is one of the most fascinating directors in all of film. I just cannot pin him down. He is someone that has such unique concepts for all of his movies that just draw you in and make you want to watch them because they seem so fascinating. And you just don't know what you're going to get with this guy. 1 minute, you're going to get just a genre-defining experience that is so innovative and interesting and will be iconic for years to come. Think of something like The Sixth Sense, a film that is referenced constantly and an amazing piece of cinema. And then the next minute, he will make the biggest piece of dog shit you've ever seen and make you completely question how he became a filmmaker in the first place. And so with each and every film, you're kind of on the edge of your seat wondering what kind of M. Night you're going to get. This is his latest film, Trap, that has a whole lot of hype behind it. Film Twitter especially has been talking this movie up for so long now. And as someone that genuinely does have a good time with a lot of M. Night's movies, and someone that kind of defends his previous film, Knock at the Cabin, I was pretty excited for this because it seemed like it was going to be more ambitious and just seemed like something that is going to really stick out in his filmography. And I do think because it has been hyped up so much, a lot of people are going to feel pretty disappointed by Trap and what it actually does because a lot of people have a certain idea of what it was going to be in their head, and this doesn't really go down that way. Now that could have been because of some misleading marketing or just people thinking completely different about this movie, but just taking it for what it is, I had a really fun time with this movie. It equally combines some of the more serious parts of M. Night's filmography with his just terrible writing and bizarre choices. Both of these things kind of collide in Trap, and I thought it made for a really fun experience that had me grinning the entire time I was watching it because it was just so damn fun. Trap's concept I always found so fascinating. There's this big pop star concert, and you find out that it is kind of a ruse to trap a potential serial killer that they've been hunting for a very long time. And the characters that this follows leaves a lot of questions that you might need to ask. Is he just a really good father taking his daughter to a concert? Or is something more sinister going on with this character? Now, if you've seen the trailer, you kind of know some of the dark avenues that it takes, but not the whole extent of that. And I do think Trap does have plenty of surprises in store for you when you go see this film. I think first and foremost, M. Night absolutely nails the bond that this father and daughter share. I felt like they had a lot of great chemistry and worked off each other nicely. It does feel really goofy, but in a way where dads are trying to understand what is happening with the youth. Some of the references and things like that where it seems really uncool, but hey, at least he's trying. Now this character, played by Josh Hartnett, is equally one of the best fathers that I've seen and one of the worst fathers that I've seen in a film this year. He is equally a really charming, great dad who seems really caring about his daughter and her interests and is willing to be protective of her, but then he's always leaving and he's just a little bit too mysterious as we try to uncover a little bit more about what's going on with this character. And I really, really liked those moments. And that can at times betray some of the things that the film wants to establish as it gets into the later half of the movie. But I still really, really liked what it was going for. I felt connected to these characters in a way where I was interested in what was going on and felt the tension of a lot of these scenes. I found the concert scenes themselves to be quite spectacular and a little bit captivating at points. They were definitely filled with a ton of atmosphere, and I thought Suleika Shyamalan, M. Night's daughter, who performed a lot of these songs as this pop star, was excellent as this performer, and I absolutely loved a lot of the songs. I cannot wait for this soundtrack to release because I will be hearing it a lot, even if some of it is just kind of pop star material that you kind of expect from any modern day pop star. But hey, it was still fun. I did have fun with a lot of the songs, and it does sell you on the fact of why she might be a big star where a lot of people are going to see a concert for her. Josh Hartnett, once again, is just really great in this movie. He is given some pretty rough dialogue at points, and I mean really rough, like some of the stuff that you expect from some of Shyamalan's bad movies, but he makes it work, I found. In a really bad Shyamalan movie, you have performances that take the dialogue really seriously, and you just get this real jarring nature to it, where the dialogue just sounds like a comedy, but it's performed so seriously that it just feels stupid and dumb, and at points can be really unenjoyable. But the bad dialogue here was almost a benefit to this movie, if that makes sense, because you can tell Josh Hartnett is having so much fun as this character that I didn't mind as much the goofiness of this dialogue, because it kind of makes sense for the type of character that Josh Hartnett is playing. So it doesn't feel quite as jarring as something like Old or The Happening or something like that. It's just a fun thriller filled with camp, and as I said, it just adds to that fun nature of it, and was one of the reasons why I was just smiling so much watching this, because it was just fun. No matter how stupid it felt, you can easily point those things out, and they're easy to laugh at, but you're also just having fun and being along the ride for this just really interesting and campy ass movie. The plot relies a lot on conveniences, and this may be really frustrating for someone that wants a really tightly wound thriller, because you have to suspend a lot of disbelief in this film. There are moments where you just going, this movie could end within the first 20 to 30 minutes if someone just had a brain on them, but they just don't. It never goes that way. And those were the moments in the writing that I did feel a little bit disconnected from this. It didn't feel as fun. It more felt like really lazy and convenient writing at points, and that did feel jarring at points. I felt like if it was more tightly wound in those thriller aspects, this would be a really, really incredible movie. It doesn't affect it crazily, because I still had a lot of fun with this movie, but you can see where this film could be a lot better. I also do feel like this is a tale of two halves. I've already seen a lot of criticism for the third act, and I kind of felt that myself when watching this, because this almost last third or second half of the movie, it does change a little bit, and it feels like it's heading into a third act, and you're expecting this to wrap up any minute, and it keeps going and going and going, and does feel really repetitive at points. And I did find that those moments felt quite tedious. Now, there were also moments that were filled with tension that I really liked, and it definitely unraveled a lot of layers about some of these characters that I enjoyed seeing, and really give the film a lot of its plot that it kind of ignores in the first half of the movie, and it really picks up here. So I did like that we were getting these revelations about these characters, because I wanted to know more about them as I was watching it, because I was really invested in them. But I do feel like the way it delivers a lot of it does feel messy, repetitive, and could have been put into just a slightly more entertaining package overall. And I do feel like some of you will check out in that final act. I also do feel like the trailer does reveal a little bit too much about the protagonist that I would have preferred to have seen in this movie. It doesn't give the movie away or anything, but there were just some surprises that would have just blown me away if I hadn't seen them in the trailer. And it does feel like, M. Night movies have a twist. They always do. And I'm not going to go into detail about what the twist is here, even the kind of ones that they reveal in the trailer, but it did feel a little underwhelming, to the point where I'm starting to think that M. Night is starting to move away from that, because Knock at the Cabin, his previous film, also had quite a lackluster reveal as well, and it just doesn't seem like it's as much of a priority in M. Night's films as it was in the early stages of his career, which could be interesting. We don't want him to be a one-trick pony. I like him doing really interesting things with these unique concepts. But, you know, you do come to an M. Night movie expecting just a real grand reveal, a real big twist. And as of late, we're just not quite getting them as much, and they're definitely not as huge as they once were, where it would completely change the outlook of the movie. But they are there. They are kind of lackluster, but they do add some fun to this thing. And as I said, it seems like M. Night is starting to deviate from that, which could be a little bit disappointing for a lot of you out there that are expecting these big grand reveals. Look, I think Trap fucking rocks. I had such a blast with this movie. I almost don't care about some of the technical issues with this movie because it's just so damn fun. And I do feel like I can distinguish a lot between M. Night being really good and M. Night being really terrible. I don't think it's that hard to distinguish the two. And as I said, this one kind of meshes both of these things together. But as I said, in a really fun package where if you just really like M. Night's movies, you're going to have a blast with this, I think. Just don't go into this expecting The Sixth Sense or something like that. Expect just a recent M. Night Shyamalan movie, but at a really just higher level than what we might have been used to in the past couple of years. I do think that this is one of his better movies, in my opinion, but I don't think that will be a widespread opinion. So go into this with your expectations in check, have a good time, leave a lot of serious critical thinking at the door, because if you're just going to tear this thing apart with all of its plot holes and silly decisions, you're probably not going to have fun with this movie. But if you're just along for the ride, there is a lot of fun to be had. There's a lot of camp to be had in this movie that just embraces such a fun and interesting tone. And I do think M. Night is just a gem in cinema. He stands out. He's unique. He does have a vision, and he's just willing to go all in on that, whether it's good or bad. And it's just the kind of bold filmmaking that you rarely see. So I have nothing but respect for M. Night, and I just think he made a really fun ass movie that I cannot wait to see again. As a score, I'm going to give Trap a 4 out of 5, and that may be higher than a lot of other reviewers, but I just had such a fucking blast with this movie. And honestly, as I rewatch this more and more over time, this just might be kind of a cult classic in my household, because I just had a blast with this, and I really hope you can too. And those are my thoughts towards Trap. If you've seen the movie, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. M. Night movies always have very differing opinions, and I'd love to hear where you stand on this movie and M. Night as a whole. What films from him do you like? Which films you don't like? There's always a kind of a mixed bag there, and I'm really fascinated to see what a lot of you guys think out there. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe, and if you really like my content, please consider hitting that join button and becoming a member. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.